Hello. Long time no see, everyone. I wanted to pop in quickly on this Tuesday afternoon to share something with you. The hubby returned from the gym and they had offered him a free bevy. Boop! Have you ever seen this before? This is just to remind you all that just because it comes from your gymnasium or a place that you quote unquote trust, that it's not necessarily good for you. I mean, it's quite easy to be seduced by what appear to be grapes on the front and even some leaves. For all intents and purposes, you would think that this bevy actually held some actual fruit, maybe some vegetables, something with life force. By the way, if you didn't know that you are an electric being, how do you think your heart is beating? And therefore, in order to keep that heart beating, you need to consume foods that are electric. And electric foods tend to come from the one source, not from a laboratory. Allow me to read to you the ingredients in this questionable beverage. We have here triple filtered water. Now, water being the number one ingredient, normally I wouldn't take issue with that, but then right after that we have phosphoric acid, which is an emulsifier of sorts, and citric acid. So the phosphoric acid is supposed to help things from getting moldy, and the citric acid, incidentally, comes from mold. Can't make this stuff up, guys, I promise you. Sodium hexametaphosphate, natural and artificial flavors. As you can tell, thus far I've not read a single ingredient that has come from a soil, a tree, or anywhere in nature, period. And what we have here, unfortunately, with the natural and artificial flavors are thousands and thousands of chemicals that have been regarded as safe, also known as GRAS, G-R-A-S, generally regarded as safe in small quantities as per the FDA. We know that the FDA makes mistakes. And so they don't really bother testing a lot of these chemicals. In excess of 10 to 15,000 food additives are out there currently that are not really being tested because, again, they're generally regarded as safe when taken in small dosages. But when they're all around us, prevalent in so many of the foods that we eat, what we're finding is toxic load, and that toxicity then leads to sickness. So if you see something like this, even though it's offered to you at the gym, and it sounds great because you're like, wow, muscle stamina, beta blast, this sounds great, but then you look at it and you see, it doesn't actually have any food source, nothing that's actually come from nature here. In addition to that, they're lying. They're trying to tell you that caffeine is good for you. This is the equivalent of 3 cups of coffee. We are all overstimulated, overtired, overtraining, overstressed, overthinking. The last thing we need is more caffeine. And caffeine, by the way, has a half-life of 6 hours. So if you drink this, say at noon, the equivalent of 3 cups of coffee here, just know that by 6 p.m. that same day, you still will have 1.5 cups of coffee coursing through you. And that's just hours before your bedtime. Not a good idea. Stay away. Drink water. It is the best source of hydration. It's simple, but it's the most effective without side effects, and it's the most hydrating. And if that bores you, add some sea salt and some fresh pressed lemon juice, lime juice, organic of course. And that's still not enough for you. Drink coconut water. Make sure it's pure and doesn't have any additives. Apart from that, seal your lips and just say, no thank you.